Okay, so after a long time, I just got free. I mean, for the past 1 or 2 weeks, everything actually got a little tense in my work, so I couldn't be that free. So yeah, today we'll be covering for the day two Vimana chess tournament. This is actually third round actually. So here's the scenario. First round, I won against Unrated. Second round, I won against draw against WCM. Third round, this guy is 1,791. I just saw his profile. This guy literally bet defeated some 2000 rated in his previous tournament, which means this guy is also kind of strong. This guy is pretty much unrated. This guy is definitely not 1,791. You'll be seeing this game soon. So the game started with e4, e4, e5. This is I was really happy with this opening because I was literally expecting a e4 c5 variation. So the Sicilians are always actually kind of tricky, right? So yeah, anything can happen actually. Just if we just lose one miscalculation can shatter the entire game. But to be honest, the Italian game is actually always kind of quite easy if you have some kind of good experience in it. So I castle for knight f6, d3, d6. Okay, c3, bishop b6, fine. Bishop b3. Okay, the reason behind bishop b3 is um he can go for simply bishop e6 actually. So let's say I just went for knight d2 or something. Bishop e6, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, bishop c2. I did have a plan. So the other thing is, yeah, maybe knight f5, maybe. Yeah, right. Oh, I still have bishop c2. Okay, I did miss something. Generally, I won't be playing bishop b3 unnecessary. Okay, looks like I did miss something in the opening. Never mind. Let's go to the game. So I went for bishop b3, castle, knight here, knight d7. Knight d7 is actually kind of awkward. Knight d7 seems too early. So I thought a bit. I generally don't play knight c4 here. What I'll be playing is rook e1, knight f1, knight g3, and then knight h4, knight f5, or knight gf5 or something. Any knight on f5, and probably after the knight on f5, queen f3 and queen g3 variation to attack on the king's end. This bishop will be going for bishop h6 sacrifice. The reason I didn't go for this one, because generally I'll be playing like that. If you have seen my DHS games, so the reason I didn't go for that one because he can simply go for knight g6 quite easily, and he can push the h pawn, bishop g4, sorry, bishop g4, or even he can try knight h for knight f4. He can try to implement it. So his pieces are kind of quick. So okay, since it's kind of quick, right? So okay, just remove the plan out of equation. Knight c4, bishop e6, which is also really good. The reason behind this move is if I should try to reroute my knight like this on knight f5, knight h5, connecting to knight f5, something like that. So this can actually take the light square bishop quite easily. So I always tell my friends that when you're playing in white, light square bishop is quite active than your dark square bishop. Same thing applies to black. Dark square bishop is quite active, then it's light square bishop. So if he takes his bishop right, my attack speed will be quite slow. So and for a4, just don't ask me why. I completely forgot because this is actually a long time which I played. So uh, a4, okay, queen star expansion is good, but I completely forgot why I played it. So even for c6, which is good, because what is actually trying to do is trying to have my own setup. Bishop c2, trying to play d4 in the future, or rerouting the knight or something like that. So whatever is trying c6, I did find it good. So and for bishop g5 straight away, knight g6, knight h5, rook e1, Queen f3. Okay, Queen f3. Queen f3 seems like an accuracy. But even if you go for the angel knight, I think it's a center break. I think. Okay, knight takes bishop. I don't want to remove this Leicester bishop quite quickly. I just want to hold it for as much as possible. Moreover, I did see about this one. But the problem is, after queen takes, bishop takes, no, not bishop takes, bishop c2. Yeah, this is another issue actually. I seriously didn't like this version by actually giving this b pawn for nothing actually, basically nothing. Yeah. Okay, what happens? Okay. Yeah. This game is equal, huh? Alright, this game is actually kind of plus for white. But even if you should look at this question, right, because I don't see any type of plus here. Okay, the reason engine says is plus because this rook is actually kind of dumb right now, and this queen is also not doing anything much. These pieces are in not properly placed. That's the reason it is actually plus. Otherwise, I I don't see anything here. Even the white is plus. What is that attack here? I don't see anything. So queen f3 seems like natural. So the reason behind queen f3 because if he actually did something wrong, I can make a double pawn or something. So after a long thing, he went for h6. I took. He took because he can take this one. That will be a problem for him. Queen f3, queen takes g. Knight takes bishop. I think. Oh yeah. So in this night, right? So this position is actually fine for me. I can play good rook and game. 8 pawn versus 8 pawn, which he has double pawn, which I can target. Uh, these 2 pawns. The only way I'll be trying and targeting is I just keep on rerouting this rook and maybe push the h4 or h5. This might be my future plan. But if anybody actually can win in that position, it should be white, not for black. So that is actually good against these type of players, right? So for knight h4, bishop takes, queen takes, knight takes, bishop. So yeah, here I was pretty sure that bishop takes e6 was the best engine move, but I didn't play it. And after some time thing, I went for bishop c2, which is kind of inaccuracy. So because the bishop c2 doesn't do anything, this is not a middle game. This is not a pure middle game. This is actually a game between middle game and end game. And moreover, that bishop won't be doing anything. If I actually successfully able to push this pawn right, then this bishop is actually kind of fine. I won't say it's better or something. Let's say if I go for rook here or something. So yeah, this is fine. Okay, my bishop is actually dying open. Okay. Okay, after supporting Rook D1, so let's say even for just illustrating my point. So now this thing is actually kind of okay, right? So this is my point. This is my exact point. What I'm actually trying to explain. So yeah, so instead of uh, just trying to create some chances, moreover, okay, what are the what are things he how can he actually punish? So what I basically thought was, okay, let's say my plan fails and my bishop is actually stuck totally. What I plan to do is give 1 pawn here for free. Just open the diagonal. I'm pretty sure if I play it accurately, I can hold this game for a draw. So I just want to keep the game going. So that is the reason behind bishop c2. Even for d5, which is good, and for queen e3. Okay, what is the point of queen e3? Mhm. Mm, okay. Okay, what did I play queen e3 for? Oh, okay, that is some kind of bishop g4, huh? Bishop g4 f5, I think. Maybe that is why I played queen e3 or something. I don't know. I played it after a long thing. That is one thing for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Queen e3 basically she attacks this p pawn. So the queen e3 actually game make the game complex. So what basically does is once I take the b pawn, right? So after this b pawn falls, this b c pawn fall, three pawns actually kind of hanging. What I'll be doing is I can give this pawn for free. That let's say even for king h or something. Or he simply takes. Uh, okay, okay, this is really bad. This is also bad, but this is actually kind of manageable. That's a different story. But at the situation, it's different. So I just want to make sure that there are so many options. I don't know whether I would play this variation or not, but I just want to make sure there are so many options out there. So in first c5, which I completely expected him to play. So if he managed to push this pawn, right, my bishop will be dead. So after take my queen. Okay, let's say he got a free move. Pawn push, takes, queen here, bishop f3. Even after bishop f3, this bishop is not going to do anything, which means either I'm losing or I'll be fighting for my life. So yeah, so c5 I expected. Here I made the game even more trickier. The move is actually d4, which makes the game too tricky. So yeah, so d4 has so many variation. Okay, because after once I take this pawn, I can take this pawn. Yeah, I mean, sorry, I can take this. If I am a free move, I can take this pawn. This pawn is weak, but he has bishop g4, bishop h3. I mean, he can have queen f6. He can have f5. Yeah, this is the most funniest one. He can have f5 after this takes the pawn. Yeah, this is what I thought. f5 pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, rook attacks the queen. I can simply take the bishop. I can sacrifice the queen. This is one variation. Yeah, there are so many lines here. So we were actually equally placed for around 30 minutes each. This guy went to time pressure and I got and it burned 20 minutes because there's so many lines actually. And moreover, if you should say, allow something that there is the beep on hanging. So there are too many lines here. Yeah, too many lines. You can also go for queen f5. Uh, yeah, actually, you can also go for rerouting like the queen, like queen d8 or something. Okay, first of all, is f is correct? No, f is wrong. Yeah. You'll be losing the pawn on this part. Yeah, I did see this line actually, but okay. You can ask me. You can simply take this pawn. I'll be taking this pawn. This pawn is not going anywhere. Yeah, my bishop seems like temperate, but since I'm in a pawn position, this should be equal, or I'm winning. So here my plan would be simple: just push this pawn, push this pawn, push this pawn, push this pawn. Just create some chances. The plans are kind of simple. Maybe not directly, but I'm having some kind of plans here. So yeah, is there any other variation? Hmm. So after a long time, he just want to say he thought for a long time. He just don't want to go for even more complicated position. He just simply took this pawn. I took this pawn. Bishop f5. I missed it. I seriously missed it. Bishop f5. I saw so many lines. I didn't see bishop f5. Okay, I took this pawn. Took this bishop. Now I'm forced to give the bishop. Actually, yeah, that's f3 line, which I really didn't like it. Uh, Yeah, seriously. I seriously didn't like this question. Yeah, right. Yeah, engine can play, but one way or other, I might lose this pawn. I don't know. There's a huge chance that I might lose this pawn. So here I went for pawn takes, bishop takes, uh, queen b3. Yeah. So here also I had so many lines. So here I can have prince queen c3 too. yeah, in which rook is coming inside for some reason. So the idea behind queen b3 is it attacks both the pawn. So even and moreover, after if he takes this pawn, right? I have the luxury whether to take this pawn or this pawn. That's my choice. Moreover, let's say if you take this pawn, which he did, I took this pawn. The reason behind is, let's say if he actually supported this pawn, his rook is actually hanging. So yeah, so he even for queen here, what I expected was I expected something rook takes pawn. Yeah, I expected rook takes pawn. Yeah, that are so many lines. I can simply take rook takes rook also. That's also fine for me. Uh, Even for queen e7, okay. The idea behind the queen e7 is actually really beautiful move. So looking at this position, understanding, right? So yeah, okay. What I do? Hmm. Okay, looking at this position, understanding. What is my actual pieces are doing? So here my rook can be rerouted, but I might have a checkmate sequence because I still didn't push any pawns. Or I can actually try to push this pawn, in which I'll be losing one of the pawns, which is which gives a slight edge. But okay, let me explain you. Yeah, this gives a slight edge, right? So yeah, you'll be losing a pawn for nothing. So after a long time, for rook a c1, he can take this pawn. That won't be a problem. And for rook here, queen here, rook here. If you look at my opponent's position, right? So his pieces are two after my pieces are two. My pieces are basically doing nothing. And moreover, he has so many plans. Like he can simply put two rooks inside, maybe queen f6 just to target f pawn, b pawn, everything. So what I should think is that I'm seeing multiple threats. I need to find the accurate moves. Here I thought of queen b4, which is quite bad. Queen f5. Yeah, I'm just making some random moves just to see the evaluation. So rook here is a blunder. No, not a blunder. Oh yeah, yeah, not a blunder. There is no checkmate sequence in immediately because there's a queen f1 coming. So yeah, I mean, right, but there are so many threats for me. That's the point. So while you're actually we both are under 15 minutes, and you're actually facing so many my opponents having so many attacking choices. This is an actually quite good for you to actually find. I mean, you need to find accurate moves in no time, right? So that is not a good position. And for queen c3, which is an accurate move, and for rook here, g3, which right now I had a chance to play something. h5. Okay. Here I went queen f3. That's a brother that generally I'll be playing h4 since I had low time. I was actually scared of like queen f3, queen g6, and sorry, h4, queen f6, queen g6, rook here, and rook takes pawn or something, or rook here, rook takes pawn something. So that I thought I'm just giving some kind of sacrifice option in the future. So after thinking, what I did was I went for queen f3, and the idea behind this, if you actually see my see the previous video in round number two, I rerouted my rook to rook beautifully. Like I think my rook was in d8. I actually beautifully rerouted to c4. Yeah, now I remember the position. So uh, that is the same idea which I literally applied here for h4 and for rook c4. He can go for h3. My rook will be coming here. My queen will be going inside. There are some kind of threats for him too. So after something, he just took it immediately. He just don't want to risk it because he was also low on time. Since he's an actually high rated, he can actually keep on pushing, and it is actually kind of gambling actually. Yeah, anything can happen. It is kind of gambling, especially at round number three. That is actually kind of risky. So he just took a rash decision, which I really liked about him. Takes after queen here, I went for rook h was same idea, creating some checkmate sequence if he misses. So in for b5, I expected something crazy like G5. What happened G5? See, G5 is also kind of equal, right? So I did expect something like this. I was calculating Rook H6 something, because if I was in black side, I would have thought for G5. So just to try desperately for a win. And for B5, I immediately took it. That's a really bad idea. I should have simply pushed this pawn. I completely missed it too, because yeah, in a time pressure, right? While you're actually completely focusing on the king side, if you actually move something on the queen side, okay, just take it and yeah, shift your focus back to the king side. This is what I was basically doing. So yeah, uh, and for takes pawn push. The idea behind pawn push is how are you going to attack this pawn? That's a really good question, right? How are you going to attack this pawn? Pawn push. Okay, you can ask rook here. Um. Uh. Yeah, I can simply play rook b1 also. This is not an issue. Maybe yeah, I thought of rook b1. This is the one of the option which I had a ready made in my mind. So other than this, I don't remember any other options. That's a different story. So yeah, b5, f6. F6 looks kind of awkward actually. Simply opening this diagonal. Unfortunately, I don't have a light square bishop. That's bad. So if I had a light square bishop, I'm completely winning this position. Let's say my light square bishop is on c2. I will simply rerotate. This should be completely winning. So f6 kind of awkward, but I had nothing to exploit in that. And for rook here, trying desperately for queen f3 sack. He found a brilliant move, which is queen d7. I can't go for the sack. He would be simply taking the rook. Okay, king g2. Rook here. Rook takes. Queen here. Take. Actually, what I thought is he'll be going for rook here. Rook here. Pawn push. Pawn push. Pawn push. Pawn push. Pawn push. Rook here. Rook takes. This is one of the endgame which I had in mind. So he wants to keep, since he wants to keep the game going. He played queen f7, king f7 for rook c, rook king here. So the idea behind is after his king improvement, I don't want him to actually come behind it. So here I played b4 and I asked the draw, because since clearly this is the same side pawn, even if it's a 2 versus 1, this should be a draw. So yeah, if you're a really good player, you would have not. So I asked the draw, because either he needs to take this pawn, or I'll be taking this one in the next turn. He can play king here. I'll be taking this pawn for free. I after yeah, king here is a blunder. Sorry, not this one. Okay, anyway, I did this one later. So yeah. See, it's this a clear blunder. This pawn will be for falling for free. That's why it's a blunder. Yep. Anyways, I'm directing this one. Yeah. This is a round 4. I should the round 3. I should went for 4 front of us. This guy should 1000 and rated. This guy is also definitely a good player. So I'm only drawing against this player, but these people, the tournament is actually giving me very much high rated. The reason because this tournament almost every player is actually kind of strong players. So yeah, here he opened for d4 and f6. Yeah, this is the same opening which I should be played at round number 2. D6. If you see my online games, I've simply gone for D5. The problem with D5 is the double edge position will be kind of low, and D6 can actually create chances for both players. So the D5, the problem with D5 is the game be kind of slow, dry, solid, and everything. Yeah. So I went for D6, knight C3, knight D7, castle C6, C6 the idea from Pirk defense, H3, rook E8, Rook e8, I played at I think round number 2 also. That's the same idea. Rook e1, e4, e5, e4, f5. Please don't ask me whether it's opening preparation or not. I just played it with my game experience. That's what I basically did. Bishop here. Yeah, I pretty much sure I need to take this pawn. But after taking this pawn, I thought this pawn will be weak. So I play for knight h5, which is a completely unnecessary move. Rook c1, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, knight c5, queen c2, bishop f8. Because since I played the stupid knight h4, right, my knight is actually kind of in an awkward position. Because I am actually simply allowing all this pawn. Let's say I play some dummy moves like this. After g5, knight f6, f5, there's g4 or e4 or something. There's so many things going on the board. I just realized it did. Actually, you can have done the same thing here also. I mean, yeah, right now his pawn is actually kind of hanging. But there are so many. My point is that here he has quite few ideas here. Okay, okay. After queen, the way I found it, because after queen zero, which is actually holding the pawn, right? Now we can go with it because I can take this pawn. This pawn is actually no longer hanging. Before that, the engine says you can simply take the pawn, but right now it is not. And for bishop a8, idea is to reroute the knight for rook c d1, queen c7, because the idea behind queen c7 is, let's say he actually moves his knight somewhere here, or just give if he actually gives his knight here. After you take this knight, he can simply take this bishop because the rook is actually pinning the queen. So that there's so many things going on the board. And for queen c7, he put this knight back. Okay, what I was completely thinking was I should thought was knight f6. There are two variations which I thought. Knight g7, f5, f4, uh, takes, takes, queen f7, attacking both c pawn and f pawn, pawn push, pawn take, queen takes. So this is the line I thought. I'm not sure because my king side is too open, my opponent's king side is also open, but he is the only one who can actually attack my piece. But by the way, my opponent's rooks are good. So this is one variation I thought. After long thing, I might have not even played f5. I mean, I would not even played knight g7. I would have played knight to 6 too. Here also same thing. I thought of knight d7. So he can go for f5. If you go for f5, I had knight e5. So if you go for e5, I can simply take this pawn. So if you go for h5, uh, now things are actually good. Okay, yeah, he needs to move this one, right? Now I can play. Oh, okay. Oh, the bishop is actually I eyeing this one. Oh yeah, I got it. So yeah. Okay. The position is actually kind of holdable. That's a reference to it. But I did thought of this one. Let's say the idea behind knight g6 is actually trying to reroute my queens as somewhere here. So I don't know what would happen. I don't know whether I would play knight g6 or something. But this position is actually clearly plus for white. I thought I was actually in a deadlock's position, but the moment he actually played knight e2, right? This moment which I felt some kind of relief. So I can simply break my opponent first. After takes knight f6. Now my knights are actually kind of jumping in the center, so which is actually good. For knight e4, queen here. Okay, this is a funny thing. I did see something. Okay, bishop. Okay, firstly by bishop is actually bishop e3. My opponent can actually trap my bishop. That's the problem. Yeah, seems funny, right? Sure, he had some kind of trapping ideas. Knight g6. Yeah, right. Yeah, engine can play this line. I'm definitely not playing this above lines. Wow, seriously. Come on, bishop f. Hmm. But this is too risky, too risky. I really don't want to play like this one. Bishop e6 for b3, bishop f7, bishop g5. Okay, okay. Bishop g5 makes sense, right? My knight, a knight is not mm, having a clear place, and moreover, actually in this position, he was actually having 3 minutes, and he was actually having 7 minutes. So yeah, the position is actually still complicated, but we both were in time pressure. So rook takes rook, knight e8, H a3. I rerouted my knight, which I'm actually good about it. Felt good about it. Pawn push takes knight e6. Um, okay, this move is actually kind of tricky. You can't simply take this one because there is a fork, and to avoid this fork, right, you can play bishop g6 also. You will simply put this one. Once you lose your task of bishop in this position, you are in a dead loss scenario. No matter what happening, he's going to win this position quite easily. So after something, I'm for 98. D5. So engine says simply takes. I don't want to do that. Okay. The idea behind this, I can simply take I'm in a pawn up scenario. Um, otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, okay. Why not? Okay, now this one. Oh, this is actually kind of good, right? He can't move this. My queen is in a pain. He can't move this knight. Otherwise, he's losing a bishop on the spot. Uh, okay, knight g5, queen takes bishop, rook takes, queen takes queen, rook takes rook. Okay, let me play this one. Oh yeah, his rook is a rook hanging. Yeah, yeah. I completely forgot that part. Hmm. So yeah, right. So I went for d5. Yeah, we both didn't have much time to think, and we were already playing for more than for 4.5 hours. If I some kind of 15 to 20 minutes in this position, I would have sat and think what are the best options which I had. So I might have even played for knight takes knight. So d5, pawn takes pawn, knight here. This is the only move which I had. I think. Uh, yeah, you can take this one. Yeah, yeah. The the reason behind you can't take this knight because after bishop takes pawn, you'll be losing a queen on the spot. For knight g5, I took the knight. Bishop takes knight c7, blocking the pawn. I know this was completely unnecessary, but since he's in 3 minutes and 2 minutes, I just want to make some kind of simple moves. I want him to create some kind of opportunities because he's having his piece are too act. He can't play solo for so long. Otherwise, I can get some kind of edge on somewhere. So for knight c7, bishop f6. He doesn't clearly have a plan. Okay, I went inside to create something. Knight c7, queen f6. Okay, the idea behind queen f6 because after rook h2, I can simply take this knight. I thought this position is such a kind of plus. Yeah, I didn't have any time to evaluate. We were actually playing similar time versus scenario. Even for bishop b2, I went with my usual plan. Rook a2, huge blunder game. I lose the game on the spot. Even for queen d4. Okay, the reason I made a one move blunder because if you should see my whole game, what is this bishop is Asher doing? Asher from this position, I knew if I actually do something mistake, there is some kind of checkmate sequence like bishop behind the queen. There is some kind of checkmate sequence. I know, but this look this position is actually different from it. After 10 to 15 moves, I completely forgot the scenario. So if you look at my opponent's task bishop, there is no movement at all. That bishop is actually not doing anything from the beginning. So I really didn't care. Wherever the bishop goes, I thought he simply blundered a piece. That's not the scenario. He had a checkmate sequence. I have nothing to stop. I can't play knight e6, queen h8 is a checkmate. If my bishop is not on f8, I might if my bishop is here or something. I okay. I'm still getting checkmated. So yeah. So I was in a completely terrible scenario. I was forced to give the knight a rook to bishop. I was completely losing. I'm pretty sure I was actually losing. So if not for the blunder, I would have actually tried. The game would have gone kind of interesting. The blunder threw the game entirely. Even for queen takes. Yeah, this is another mistake. After queen exchange, I should probably resign. The funny thing is, King G2 actually. Okay, the reason behind I took this pawn, right? So when I played uh, mm, knight here, I thought if I should go for king here, I can simply repeat the moves because after king here, knight here, king here, bishop c2 actually pins both one, which means I'm actually winning. So the only move here is king h1. So I took the pawn. I thought my opponent didn't have any moves. Actually, king g2 straight away wins a piece. So first he took the rook takes bishop pawn. Now he played I just resign. I clearly can't actually defend this position with only a whole rook down. So yeah, if not for a whole rook down, if it is actually knight bishop versus a rook bishop, maybe I think I can actually try something. Okay, let's say knight here. Look, the game is okay. The game is actually kind of equal. Kind of equal. Not completely equal, the kind of equal. All I need to is exchange both the thing. Yeah, the game would have gone. I mean, this position is actually kind of loose because my pawn is actually kind of loosely packed. Yeah. But generally, if you're in a position of two pawns each, same side, knight bishop is rook bishop, it should be holdable. At least you can actually annoy your player in the time pressure. And moreover the knight is actually need to be too tricky, it can be tricked to and taking into opponent's one of the pieces, so the game would have gone. Yeah, here I had nothing. Yeah, basically I had nothing. I just resigned it, but it's a fantastic game. The reason it's a fantastic game because let me show you a position. So where is this position? Okay, if you look at this position, each opponent's every piece active. Deep on is too weak, but he couldn't take it. There's no resource to take this pawn. Nistiasko bishop is good, Laisko bishop is good, but are not enough efficient to win the game. This knight is actually kind of good, well placed, covering the center. Okay, this rook is actually good. This bishop is actually good. He can come into any type of diagonal. He have f5, g5, so many options, but he can't win this game. And I also know my opponent has some slight advantage, but not enough resources to win the game. So that gave me the motivation to play this type of games. So moreover, and this guy's too high rated. I should probably 200, 300 points more than me. But still, he was actually struggling to find a way. If not for the blunder, I would have either drawn or even trick my opponent to winning position because he was in a huge time pressure. But yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I didn't feel any regret. But one thing I understood is if I'm actually playing this type of games in the future, I need to see more number of games in this variation because my games against this type of opening session, I don't remember winning any games in a real classical tournament. So if I need to win this, I definitely need to watch more games before I'm playing this next tournament. So this is the end of today's video. I'll be um if I'm actually having some kind of time, I will be covering for the day 3 also. So right now, for day 2, this is over.